What's going on, guys? We're back in the Summit Racing arena to take another step towards turning this Jeep truck into a serious trail chariot, thanks to our Roamin Gladiator series. In episode 1, you saw us address this Jeep suspension, and then in episode 2, you witnessed us bolting up a set of dang near bulletproof axles from Curry. Now we're doing what we do best, upgrading the performance under the hood. Or this time we're adding performance over the hood and windshield, thanks to a snorkel kit from our friends over at AEV Conversions. This will help our Gladiator not only breathe in cooler, cleaner supplies of air, but it's gonna mitigate the risk of hydrolocking this thing when we're forging into any water deeper than a shallow stream. Then we'll be installing a performance exhaust. But before we decide on that particular system, we're gonna go through some pros and cons of a couple different styles, addressing some key things you should think about when picking an exhaust for your off-roader. So let's jump into this and tackle the Snorkel first. So before we go installing our Snorkel, we're gonna prep it a little bit. And what we're gonna have to do is we're gonna end up drilling a 3-inch hole right here in the side of the hood. But to kind of protect our work area and make sure we don't scratch anything intentionally, we're gonna go ahead and put some painter's tape on this to protect this area. So I'm just gonna tape like the first 6 inches up to here, and yeah, it makes a huge difference when you're drilling a hole. So we got our hood trimmed, our bezel fitted, our holes drilled for our rivets, and our rivets installed. So I'm gonna go ahead and start riveting these in. So we got that bezel installed, all riveted on. Yeah, this install is really straightforward. As you guys saw, we got our whole airbox ripped out. I went ahead and took it apart a little farther. There's a little factory U elbow here that we're gonna remove and discard because this is where our Snorkel is actually gonna go in. So I need to pull a couple more bolts out of the fender. I have a new bracket I threw on the Snorkel that we'll get all lined up and snugged up, and then we'll get this airbox back in. So let's yank those bolts out and get this thing all fitted. So we got our Snorkel all bolted on, and it just uses some of the factory mounting hardware and locations to attach itself. This thing's on here nice and rigid. So now it's time to throw our stock airbox back on that we removed earlier. So I'm gonna go ahead and just slip this in place. Well, I guess here's the moment of truth to see how well everything fits. We're almost done with our install for our intake, and man, this thing looks really good, and I'm so happy with how it turned out. Now, the last order of business is the topper. So we're gonna go ahead and just throw this up here. So the intake is done and this thing is breathing better, but it's time to make it exhale better as well. So we went through the Summit catalog and found a couple different options for exhaust, and I have two in front of us here. We have one from MBRP and one from Flowmaster. Now, if you guys followed along with our JL build, we went ahead and chose a system from MBRP and we absolutely loved it. But we already know what this one sounds like, so we chose a system from Flowmaster this time. Now, this thing is also high clearance, gonna be out of the way. We're not gonna have to worry about getting caught on any obstacles. And one of the other cool features is it has this nice black muffler, so this thing is gonna be kind of hidden out of the way, and it's not some giant chrome exhaust that's gonna stand out like a sore thumb. So with that, we're gonna go ahead, get the old system yanked off, and get this new one installed. So the first step to removing our old system is going to be undoing a bunch of these brackets and actually cutting the exhaust right here so we're able to slide it out in 2 pieces. Yeah, it's a little bit of a tight fit as 1 piece, so to make our lives easier, we're going to go ahead and follow the instructions and cut it right here. Now, I've gone ahead and lubed all of the exhaust hangers so they're a little bit easier to come apart when we get to that. But first things first is going to be cutting the exhaust. So with our factory exhaust out, now we're ready to install the new one. And we're gonna start our install by we robbed our factory exhaust clamp off our factory exhaust to use on the reinstallation. So that's out. First thing that's gonna go in first is this front pipe. So we're gonna use this stand to support it while we're installing it to make our lives a little easier. And I'm not gonna fully tighten this clamp. I'm just gonna snug this up until I get the whole system installed. That way I can make any adjustments that I need to. So to get our exhaust into place, I need to go ahead and loosen this mount up, slide our exhaust in it, then I can reattach it. And starting from the front back, we'll tighten up our exhaust. There you have it. With a new fresh air snorkel and a free-flowing exhaust, our Roamin Gladiator has a bit more giddy up to tackle the trails with confidence. Now let's get outside and see how this thing sounds. And if you ask us, this thing sounds pretty good too. So thanks for hanging around for this installment of our Roamin Gladiator build series. Make sure to punch that like and subscribe button so you don't miss out on what's next. So until next time, I'm Justin with Summit Racing, and the golden question is, what are you working on?